Hello everyone. My name is Chintan Udeshi and I am a lead product manager or a principal product manager at Palo Alto Networks. I have over 12 years of experience working in the tech industry, and for the last 7.5 years I have worked as a product manager mainly in the cybersecurity space. My area of expertise include AI security, container security, and runtime security to protect organizations, applications running on public cloud and private cloud. Today, I'm here to talk about how to implement the AI security so that enterprise can innovate and introduce AI applications in their environment confidently. So let's get started. With, let's start with AI adoption. As many of you might already know, AI is consistently gaining traction in the industry today. According to the recent PwC report, over around 86% of the executives are expecting that AI will become the mainstream technology in 2025. Out of these 86% of the companies, 60% of the organizations are planning to integrate AI technology into mission critical infrastructure. And this was what makes AI security really important. Because with introduction of AI security into the mission critical infrastructure, the exposure or the risk related to AI security increases exponentially. Before we talk about the security aspect, let's talk about why AI is gaining so much of traction in the industry in the last couple of years. The first main reason is enhanced decision making. AI can analyze large sets of data, identify the pattern and insight that might be difficult for the human being to identify. Based on that data, it can come up with the recommendation, it can provide the forecast, allowing organizations to make business critical decisions. Secondly, it can automate the repetitive task and it allows employees to focus on more innovative work. On top of that, AI can optimize the workflows, it can reduce the human error, and overall it improves the efficiency, thus allowing organization to reduce the cost and roll out the application into their environment very quickly. The third reason for AI adoption growth is it opens up new business opportunities. AI can help companies develop new products and offers to their customers. AI can analyze the market trends and allow organizations to reach to new markets or new geographical regions as well. Lastly, improved customer experience. So recently I attended the cybersecurity conference called RSA in San Francisco. And as I was talking to a lot of customers and trying to understand what different players in the industry are doing, I saw that a lot of customers or a lot of organizations have already started to roll out AI chatbots and virtual assistants for their customers, because this allows organizations to provide 24/7 customer support. On top of that, organizations use AI to personalize the marketing campaigns, offer recommendation based on the customer preferences and data. On top of that, AI can potentially identify the problems early on before it impacts the customer, thus improving the customer experience overall. And these are the reasons why AI adoption is improving significantly in the industry in the last couple of years. Now that we know why AI adoption is growing in the market, let's talk about some of the security threats that are introduced because of AI. First of all is the data vulnerability. All the organizations use training data to train their AI models. Bad actors can take advantage of this and they can poison their training data, which will impact the integrity of the AI system. Second reason is the privacy concern. Imagine the situation where AI chatbots is exposing the SSN number of the customers, or it is providing critical health information to the people who don't have the right access or privileges. So privacy concerns are going to increase with adoption of AI. Third reason is the AI generated threats. Bad actor can take advantage of sophisticated deepfakes. They can create the misinformation campaign and they can create the sophisticated cyber attacks at scale, which might be difficult to detect. The other aspect that companies need to consider is the regulatory compliance, because compliance needs are different for different geographical regions as well as different industry. For example, finance industry cares about FIPS compliance, healthcare industry cares about HIPAA compliance. So organizations that are rolling out AI application needs to be aware of potential penalties that might impact them if they are not following the right guidelines. Let's talk about even more advanced security threats that are introduced because of AI. AI has started to create the realistic impersonations that will bypass the traditional security, and they are specifically targeting executives with this impersonation. On top of that, they are creating deeply personalized attacks at scale that they couldn't do it without the AI technology. They are personalizing the email campaigns those to gain the entry into the organization. And once they are inside the organization, they try to move this attack laterally to the rest of the organization. Next is model poisoning. Just like they can poison the data, the bad actors might try to poison the model as well. That way, the integrity of the model might be impacted and it might start giving the outputs which are not the right or not recommended for the customers or end users. 3. Adversarial attacks, because bad actors can provide different inputs to the AI models to see what kind of information that AI model is revealing. Now, basically, based on this, bad actors can reverse engineer on what are some of the vulnerabilities of the models, and then they can use that against the organization to gain access to the sensitive information which otherwise they won't have access to. Because of all these reasons, security of AI application is becoming really critical, because that is the only way that will allow organizations to roll out AI applications confidently either to their internal customers or to the end customers. Let's talk about what would be the implications if AI applications are not secured properly. First of all, there will be a huge financial impact. If there is a data breach, then there will be a huge financial loss for the organization, and the recovery cost would be significantly higher than the investment that they can make in protecting the AI applications. Secondly, there might be a huge impact on the reputation. If customer sensitive data leaves the organization and comes in the hands of bad actors, or there might be a ransomware attack, then there's a impact on the reputation of the organization. This impacts customer retention and hence the revenue of the organization in the long run. Lastly, there are legal consequences if regulations are not followed properly. Because of all these reasons, organizations need to invest in AI security now so that they can confidently roll out AI applications to their end customers and internal users confidently. Now that we know AI security is really important to ensure AI adoption across the industries, let's understand the key aspects of AI security. We will start with secure model deployment. First of all, the model should be protected all the time. It should be protected against DDoS attack. On top of that, the data transfer that is happening between application and the model should be secured all the time. On top of that, models should be protected against prompt injection attack, as well as we need to, or the organization need to ensure that there is no data leakage to ensure organization's sensitive data is not leaving the organization. The next important aspect of the AI security is the data security and privacy control. the data which is resting in the database or in the files should be encrypted all the time, so that even if the bad actors are able to somehow get access to the database or the file system, they still won't be able to use that data for the bad purposes. On top of that, there should be a role-based access control in place that will ensure that users who have the right privileges, they are the only ones who are able to access the application or access the database. That way, the attack surface is minimized significantly and the chances of data breach reduces significantly as well. On top of that, one of the commonly used architecture in the industry is zero trust architecture, which essentially means trust no one, authenticate everyone. Back around 15 to 20 years back, when cloud was not a big factor, the architectures or the systems were designed in such a way that all the connections or all the requests that were coming from within the organization's infrastructure were considered valid, but any connection or any requests that are coming from outside the organization infrastructure were considered invalid. Now that AI adoption or the cloud adoption has grown significantly and data resides in the data center, but in the public cloud as well, this architecture that was used 15 to 20 years ago, that is no longer applicable. So with zero trust architecture, any connection request is authenticated to make sure it is coming from the valid user or valid application. And many times users, it is recommended that multi-factor authentication is in place so that even if bad actors get access to, let's say, email or the text messages of the user, there are, with multi-factor authentication, the chances of the breach reduce significantly. On top of that, any system or any user who needs to access any database or any system, they should be given the least privileges that they will need to, in order to do their job. In order to ensure that even if a part of the infrastructure is infected because of the malware, microsegmentation policies are really important. These policies ensure that threats are not moving laterally to the rest of the organization, so that even if part of the infrastructure or some of the applications are infected by malware or CVE, the same malware won't infect the rest of the infrastructure as well. The other thing on top of microsegmentation, which is important to consider, is the runtime security protection. So many of you might have heard about Log4j vulnerability that was detected in a software back in December 2021, even though it existed in the software for 7+ years. So the organizations that are deploying all the right security policies, they are patching their applications from time to time against the vulnerabilities, they are still vulnerable to unpatched and unknown vulnerabilities. And that is why runtime security protection, where they're continuously monitoring the traffic and detecting any anomalies or threats, it is important to have that all the time. On top of that, it is good to have the monitoring tool so that it can inspect any anomaly that might be vulnerable to ensure yours or organization's sensitive data stays within the organization. Next, let's talk about building the AI system. So many times in the organization, what happens is while they are designing the architecture or the system architecture, security is not considered upfront. It is an afterthought many times, but that shouldn't be the case. While designing the architecture itself, software engineers and security architects need to make sure the system and the architecture is secure by default. On top of that, once the architecture is in place and development is in progress, it is still important to do continuous assessment to ensure the system is secure all the time. Monitoring tools will help the organization to check any anomalies or unauthorized access. So the system is secure by default. On top of that, it is important to have the recovery planning and the backup available for your system and important information, so that even if you are attacked, once you recover from the attack, you can quickly recover from your backup data. You can restore your website and the database and the system so that the disruption to the end users is minimal. Next, let's talk about securing AI lifecycle. As I mentioned in the previous slide, security starts from day one when the organizations are starting to build the architecture or infrastructure for the product. So it is important to have comprehensive security requirements while building the new system. On top of that, it is important to decide how the data that is saved will be used. Secondly, while developing the models or developing any applications, it is important to have the secure coding standards so that as and when the system is getting built, it is secure by design. Rigorous access control on who can access what should be implemented from day one. As and when the system is getting built, it is important to do thorough pen testing and the stress testing to ensure your system doesn't break when attackers are attacking from all the directions. Additionally, regular vulnerability assessments and attack simulations have to take place on the system to identify any CVEs and fix them as soon as they are detected so that the bad actors cannot take advantage of that vulnerability to steal organizations' sensitive data. Finally, as I mentioned in the previous slide as well, continuously monitoring your system for anomaly is really important. For example, let's say if the organization has all their offices in United States, all of a sudden, let's say an application or a user who might be sitting in Asia or Africa tries to access the applications or data which is located in United States, they shouldn't be able to detect those. As and when such vulnerabilities or such anomalies are detected on time, that is when security can improve continuously and ensure that your AI applications or any applications for that matter are completely secure and organization data is safe and it is not going into the hands of the bad actors. Next, let's talk about the regulatory landscape. Over the years, different industry located either in United States or outside United States, they have come up with their own compliance requirements. For example, HIPAA is a very commonly used compliance framework for medical professionals. FIPS is very commonly used by the finance industry. And then there are other regulatory standards like FedRAMP as well. On top of that, GDPR is very commonly used in the EU region. GDPR enforces comprehensive data protection requirements for all their systems. It requires explicit consent. It requires data minimalization. And on top of that, organizations have to provide the right explanation for the automated decisions. Now, with AI adoption increasing day by day, EU is proposing a new AI Act which will provide all the regulations on how to use the AI applications, categorize the AI application by the risk level, stop the prohibited practices, and then provide the transparency obligation so that the data that is used to train the AI models or the data that is used to make systems better, they are used in the right way. Similarly, all the other compliance that I mentioned, HIPAA, FIPS, FedRAMP, they are taking into consideration the fact that AI adoption is increasing, so they are changing the regulation so that it works well with the AI applications that will be rolled out in now or in the near future. Before I end this presentation, I also want to take into the consideration the ethical considerations. First of all is the fairness. When we are training the AI model, we need to implement the rigorous security measures to prevent the bias against any specific diverse population. It has to ensure demographically balanced traffic data set. Second important thing to consider is the transparency. The AI has to balance the robust security with maintaining the system. On top of that, there should be detailed documentation on all the security controls, and they should be updated from time to ensure the architecture and the system is secure against new vulnerabilities. On top of that, it is important to establish the explicit data usage policies, and it should be accessible by all the important stakeholders. Third important aspect to consider is the privacy respect. So individual rights and autonomy should always be considered while training the AI models. Then on top of that, AI models need to apply data minimization principle to reduce the vulnerability surfaces, and all the systems should be patched for CVs from time to time. Finally, no system is perfect. So in order to ensure AI is doing the right thing, human oversight is absolutely important. So just in case if AI is doing something wrong, humans should be able to override that mechanism or steps that AI is performing. On top of that, there should be a structured human process review so that all the critical decisions are reviewed to make sure AI is behaving correctly. And if AI is not performing up to the mark, humans should be able to override them all the time. Finally, let's talk about the key takeaways of this presentation. As I mentioned before, AI adoption is increasing rapidly. In order to ensure organizations are able to successfully deploy AI applications in their environment, security is very critical. So security should be taken into the consideration from day one. So it should be security by design. On top of that, customers or organizations should develop micro-segmentation policies, RBAC policies. They should protect their AI applications, models, data, and they should continuously evolve their security practices to ensure AI applications are secure and none of their sensitive data leaves the organization. Like on top of that, they also need to comply with the regular compliance frameworks such as HIPAA, GDPR, FIPS, and any other frameworks that are applicable for that particular organization. And ethical considerations are really important. While training the models, and human oversight should be taken into the consideration and should be treated as a top priority to ensure AI is not doing something that it is not supposed to do. Hope this presentation provided you all the insights that you needed to ensure how organizations can secure their AI applications so that they can confidently roll out AI applications either for their employees and for the end customers in order to improve their operation efficiency, reduce the cost, increase the customer satisfaction, and increase their revenue and position in the market in the long run. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Thanks a lot and have a nice day.